Hello and welcome to today's episode of So What's the Catch here on the So What's the Catch Facebook page, or if you're watching this later on YouTube channel, or if you're listening to this on Anchor, we appreciate you tuning in however you're following us. We'll go with that.
What's up, guys? Good to be here.
Yeah.
How's it going?
So
It's a Friday, so this is different for us. For everybody that joins, we appreciate you listening in on a Friday.
yes.
We had some stuff come up on Wednesday, so we moved the show to Friday, but here we are.
Yeah. So you know how this period of time is supposed to be called the NFL offseason? I don't think the NFL knows the meaning of the word off season because the off switch seems to have been like completely busted.
Well, it's a crazy NFL offseason. It's the league that never sleeps. I know you said that before, Josh. But yeah, it's been very, very exciting, more so than most off seasons. But yeah, it's the NFL. You know, it's always going to dominate the headlines, whether it's the middle of the year, in the off season. So
yeah,
there's plenty to talk about in terms of NFL news and rumors and whatnot. So we got a lot to get to.
Yeah, so I thought it would be fun if we did like a mock, I guess like a draft style where it's like, let me see if I can explain this. I saw this on NFL Network, so I'm stealing their idea a little bit. Whatever. Just roll with me. It'll go Brian first, James second, I'll go third, and you select like what you think is the most impactful move of the offseason. And we can do like top 8. Is that top 10, top 8, something like that?
Well, there's 3 of us, so how about something divisible by 3?
Top 9.
9. We all pick 3. Okay, is that fine? We all pick 3.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we're gonna go. Who's
Snake.
starting?
Sorry, I'm just gonna set this show sheet on fire and throw it out the window because apparently we're just
Okay, I guess we'll do this exercise real quick, then we'll discuss the topics. Okay.
Yeah. Someone lead the way. I'm a little confused.
Okay. It's a snake style draft, so it'll go whoever has the first pick will get the last pick on the
Okay,
way
you start first, though.
All right, I'll go first. I am going to say, how about the Chargers getting Khalil Mack and J.C. Jackson?
Okay, who's second?
How about you go second?
Okay, this is easy. Deshaun Watson.
You stole mine, James. Okay, I'm gonna go Russell Wilson.
All
And
right.
you again?
I will go Tyreek Hill to the Dolphins.
So
Tom Brady.
Ooh, Tom Brady. So free agency counts too, not just trades.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers staying in Green Bay.
On that note, Davonte Adams going to the Raiders.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. Trying to pick one here.
There's a couple I don't like. That's where I think you're having trouble too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. Let's just say
How about this? We can throw in not re-signing a guy too.
Okay.
How about people that are available that haven't been re-signed?
Oh, the Seahawks cutting Bobby Wagner.
Boom.
Oh,
Boom.
okay.
Dang. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go the other direction, and can I choose a bad one?
Sure.
Can I sell one? I'm selling MVS to Kansas City.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yep.
So let's start at the top here. Davonte Adams, he was traded from Green Bay to the Raiders. Derek Carr has a new target to throw to. Quite a good one, too. Davonte Adams is a stud. They paid him a fuck ton of money because that's what you do with Davonte Adams. This is a huge move for Vegas.
Yeah. Best receiver in the NFL?
Yes.
Yeah, probably. I'd say probably.
And the stupid part is Green Bay only got 2 draft picks in return for Davonte, And then Kansas City turns around, trades Tyreek Hill to the Dolphins, and they get 5 draft picks in return. What the hell?
Yeah, it's incredible how much capital that teams are willing to move on wide receivers. It's kind of shows the direction that the league is headed,
Mhm.
And you're right. Davonte Adams got a fuck ton of money because he deserves it. That's what you do. And teams that are on the verge, that are on the bubble, I would say Las Vegas is considered one of those teams. This is the kind of move that you make if you're trying to make a serious run at a Super Bowl. So good for Vegas. I think they're really headed in the right direction. I really like that combo. I think that he's going to bring the best out of Derek Carr. And it's going to be interesting. I think a lot of people think that a lot of Davonte's numbers are attributed to having Aaron Rodgers be his quarterback, but I'm not saying Derek Carr is a significant. Well, yeah, I am. Derek Carr is a significant drop from Rodgers, but he's still a good quarterback. But my point being, it's going to be interesting to compare his numbers this season with how he did in Green Bay. Having Derek Carr throwing him the ball as opposed to Aaron Rodgers.
And look
There
who's
we go.
here, Mr. Berserk.
How's it going, y'all?
Yeah, what's up, dude? I didn't think you were coming.
I'll do my best not to miss a show. I'm sorry, my bad for being late, but were you guys just talking about Deshaun?
No, we haven't got there yet. We're talking about Davonte Adams getting traded to the Raiders.
Yes.
I think
I
that's a
know
good fit for him.
teammates at Fresno State, and they became pretty good friends actually. So
Yeah, I don't know if I buy this that they're best friends narrative that they're trying to sell. I think that obviously that's what you're going to try to sell when it's a quarterback wide receiver combo.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sure they get along, and I'm more excited about the fact that they're familiar with each other, that they've thrown routes together. That excites me more than this supposed brotherhood that the two of them have. That
Yeah.
I don't know if that really exists or not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
think
let's
they take the narrative of they just hung out as brothers.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I get that.
And let's look at the Raiders, the weapons now, because they have Davonte Adams. They signed Demarcus Robinson from the Chiefs, so they took a weapon away from Patrick Mahomes, gave it to Derek Carr. They still have Hunter Renfrow. They still have Brian Edwards. They still have Darren Waller. I mean,
Don't forget Josh Jacobs.
And Josh Jacobs is a running back, and he's really good. I mean, you
Yeah.
look at this offense, they got a lot of guys. I mean, they got to be taken seriously, I think. I mean,
100%.
sure, their defense needs some work. Max Crosby, signing him to an extension, that was a good move. Signing Chandler Jones, I believe, that they got, right?
Oh yeah, we should. Why nobody?
One of us should have definitely.
I completely forgot about Chandler Jones, but they got Chandler Jones, and he's more than solid. I mean, they're in the right direction.
Yeah. Him and Crosby. I mean, that's scary.
Yeah. Honestly, I know we'll talk more about the Tyreek Hill trade and all that in a minute, but losing DeMarcus Robinson and Tyreek, I don't know what this Kansas City offense is going to look like.
Well, I can tell you right now that they're going to be drafting a wide receiver in the first round with one of the draft picks they just got. Okay, let's be real here. Garrett Wilson is going to be catching bombs from Patrick Mahomes. Okay, and Garrett Wilson's also going to be a hell of a lot cheaper. And that's something that they got to worry about with the contract they gave Patrick Mahomes and the contract that they gave Travis Kelce. I mean, he's still got Travis Kelce.
As soon as I heard about this Tyreek Hill move, my brain immediately went, "Oh, they're going to get Garrett Wilson in the draft."
You don't think they're going to go Chris Olave?
No, I think that Garrett Wilson is more of a Tyreek Hill style player. It's almost like James just said, he's a cheaper version, really. I mean, it's a similar style wide receiver. There's some critiques about his game, but I mean, you're going to have that being a young receiver coming into the draft. But I like him better than Olave for the Chiefs. I think Olave fits with other teams better than Wilson, but in this instance, I immediately thought, oh, okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Get a bunch of draft capital for him and, draft Garrett Wilson and boom, you have a younger version of Tyreek Hill. So.
I mean, if I personally think Patrick Mahomes could make nobodies into something. I think he's that good. I really don't think it matters if he has a star wide receiver or not at this point. I think he really is that good.
And they would have to trade up to get Garrett Wilson because their picks are 29 and 30. But if they just stay put, they're not able to trade up, they could easily go Chris Olave, Treylon Burks at 29 and 30 back-to-back. And
I thought they had a top 15 pick in the first round.
No, it's 29 and 30.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah. So it would have to be a trade-up, which,
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Chiefs, it's Andy Reid, definitely in the realm of possibilities. But
that's how they got Mahomes.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they could honestly probably go Olave and Burks at 29 and 30, and that would be absolutely frightening to everybody. Okay.
Yeah.
Or they could get Drake London. Drake London would be another guy that, that's a possibility for them. But solid. No, they don't have a draft pick.
First round draft pick.
Oh, yeah. That's right. We traded him.
Yeah. I guess we're going to get to the MVS move. I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but when you look at the production, we'll get to that, I guess. I'll get to the MVS and Kansas City thing. I don't want to go ahead.
Let's look at Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's now in Miami. If we're talking ultimate downgrade from quarterback to from situation to situation, it's going from Mahomes to noodle arm Tua. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is just, it sucks for Tyreek Hill. But he's gonna have to do all of his production on short routes and bubble screens because he's not gonna catch anything down the field.
Yeah. Tua can't do those deep passes.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday, Josh. And that was the same thing I said was that, Tyreek Hill produced crazy numbers at Kansas City, but part of that's because he had a guy that could get the ball down the field to him. Tua is not going to be able to get Tyreek Hill is too fast for Tua's weak arm, if that makes sense. He's too quick for Tua. He just doesn't have the arm strength flat out. Tua's very accurate, and I know that they'll be able to do some good things with him, but I mean, 111 catches for 1,200 yards last year. He's not going to be able to get that kind of production with Tua.
In that case, he could just throw a bunch of checkdowns.
I mean, he can get a lot of check down, a lot of yards after catch, but let's be real here. If there's one trait that always declines with age, it's speed. Okay? Yeah. And so if we look at Hill, we look at his age, we look at where his career trajectory is going, they'll get a couple good years out of Tyreek Hill, and then it's gonna go down. It'll go downhill, but he's not gonna crater. At least I don't think so. But
here's the other thing, though. They're gonna be asking him to run a lot of things over the middle, a lot of schemes, a lot of stuff, and he's gonna face some hits that he's not used to taking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And James, you nailed it. Speed is the number one thing that goes with age. The other thing is durability.
Yeah.
And that's something that really concerns me is that, yeah, he's got the perfect skill set to run routes like that, but you're putting him in a lot of danger doing that, as opposed to Patrick Mahomes, where it's like the meme, I'll just throw it as far as I can. Tyreek Hill's down there somewhere. He'll catch it, That's a very real concept, though, in their offense was if the play breaks down, I know I got the fastest guy in the field. He'll be down there somewhere. Tua can't get the ball that far down the field, so they're not going to have that luxury.
Right. But all the pressure is on Tua now because think about what Miami has done in the offseason. They shored up their offensive line by getting Teron Armstead and Connor Williams. They went out and signed Cedric Wilson. I'm sorry. They got
an absolute space cadet for a head coach.
Yeah. They got Tyreek Hill. They have Mike Gesicki, who I would say is a top 5 tight end. They got who are the 2 running backs they signed? Chase Edmonds, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. And then Mostert from San Francisco. So Tua has everything he needs to be a good quarterback. It's all on him now.
He just needs to do it. I mean, he hasn't really done it yet. Sure, he's looked okay, but okay is where the Browns found themselves not too long ago. Okay is where a lot of teams were this is good enough. We can win like this. That's how the Jaguars end up signing Blake Bortles that extension and their team exploding. Okay, that's how the Eagles got to where they are now currently, and they're trying to make Jalen Hurts be a thing, and he's probably just okay as well. You see teams settle for okay, and you settle for irrelevance when you do that.
This feels so much like the Browns squad going into last season. This Dolphin squad. They are quarterback play away from being a good team, you know. So it's do they think that Tua has a high enough ceiling that they can get him to that point? And I personally haven't seen it from him yet. So I don't know. We'll see. He's got, like you said, Josh, he has no excuses now.
Yeah.
I think Tua's ceiling, if I were to give a good prediction, is he's going to be like a good quarterback, not make it past the second round of the playoffs. That would be my expectation.
Probably. He's a guy that once you sign him to an extension, your window is closed. Okay. That's what he is.
You're mentioning Mariota a bit, like that level. Like
he's very much that.
A very decent backup quarterback. A guy that does a lot of things very well. By all means, he's never been reported to be anything other than a good leader and a good guy.
Why do these guys just keep getting drafted high then?
Because teams are quarterback needy. And
the most important position.
They're desperate for quarterbacks, is what it is. You see someone, you see him, win. Teams want a winner. You see him put up certain numbers. They're more willing to gloss over anything negative if they see anything positive. And so that's what it always is. I've said it before, and I say it again. When you're evaluating players, don't put together a list of positives because you'll talk yourself into anyone. Put together a list of negatives. Tell me what he can't do. You will learn more about the player when you compile a list of negatives than you do a list of positives.
That's actually a fair point that I didn't even think about, but it totally makes sense.
I mean, numbers never lie, but you can manipulate numbers to tell any story you want to.
I've gotten into Twitter arguments with this one asshole was trying to tell me Rashard Higgins is like the most efficient wide receiver in the league. I'm like, get the hell out of here. Anyone can manipulate numbers to do anything, like you said.
Yeah.
I mean,
confirmation bias is a real thing, especially when you're talking about fandom and things like that. So like when you do what James suggested and you look at the negatives, you're removing that bias from it. And it's more effective. And when it comes to Tua, there's a lot of stuff that he can't do that we know from jump. So
if my quarterback had a touchdown to interception ratio that was bad, but they still won games, I would take that quarterback.
You would take that quarterback
if he's winning us games and getting the Super Bowl. Yeah.
I mean, if he's winning a Super Bowl, of course.
I mean, sure, but if he's winning a Super Bowl, but like at some point you have to look at the quarterback. Like, how much is this guy holding us back?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because that's literally what we had here in Cleveland this past year. How much is this guy holding us back?
And look at the competition he has too. In the AFC right now, it's like it's ridiculous. It's a buzzsaw of a league. So. He's got a lot of guys in front of him, and you have to ask yourself the question, okay, if this team makes the postseason, is Tua going to outplay Josh Allen? Is Tua going to outplay, Pat Mahomes? No, he's not going. Yeah, Russ Wilson. No, but he's not going to any of those guys. To me, this is kind of like it's almost like a waste of a year for them.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing this does do, I will say that it should give them an answer either way on Tua. If he doesn't move the needle all that much, it's like, okay, he's definitely not the guy. If he finally shows us something that he hasn't done yet, then you know what? Maybe they continue investing, continue going with Tua. But if he just looks like crap, that helps them even more. You know what I mean? You want a definitive answer either way. You want him to be awesome or be terrible.
I mean, we
what
know
the Dolphins decided to do is just to fuck around and find out, basically.
Right.
And that's what's going to happen this year. They're going to fuck around, start Tua, and they're going to find out if he's the guy or not. And you get some clarity out of that, but when you have so many weapons around you, it's like,
disguising their flaws at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we do know that at one point, or I guess several points, the Dolphins seemed to be interested in Deshaun Watson before those talks fizzled out. So that should...
A lot of that was prompted by Brian Flores. Okay. Yeah. Once Flores was taken out of the equation, once ownership stepped in and the GM said that, like, we don't want to do that, like, Tua's our guy, it pretty much just, like, ended that. It was pretty much just Tua was interested in Brian Flores. Not Tua, Watson was.
Right.
But once Brian Flores wasn't the coach, Watson wasn't interested in Miami.
Yeah, I thought that still was a bad move to fire him.
I mean, yeah, but that was never going to work, what was going on there. It's okay to have disagreements with front office and coach, because that way you're at least having conversations and gives you a different perspective of the way someone evaluates a player. But when it's complete, just not functional, that's completely it's going to ruin a franchise, and that's what they were. They were not functional.
No, they were extremely dysfunctional, and according to reports, the owner wanted Flores to lose intentionally to improve their draft stock, or draft pick, I should say. Yeah, I mean, we talked about that before, but back to this, Brian, you've been waiting to talk about this Marquez Valdes-Scantling to the Chiefs.
Yeah. I just wanted to start with how we ended the conversation with Tyreek Hill. You know, I repeated his numbers. It was 111 catches, 9 TDs for 1,200 yards last year. And the year before, it was 87 catches for 15 TDs and 1,200 yards again. Mm-hmm. And then the same numbers for MVS. Last year, 26 catches, 3 TDs, and 430 yards. Granted, there were some injuries, and he was out some time, what have you. But the year before, 33 catches, 6 TDs, 690 yards. Yeah. So these aren't numbers that this isn't replacing Tyreek Hill. Like I'm not saying it's not a good move. I'm not saying he's not a good piece for them, but it doesn't do a whole lot for me, is what I'm saying. He's a good piece. He adds depth to that unit, but they need more work is what
I'm with you there. He's probably more of a replacement for Demarcus Robinson being gone than for Tyreek Hill, to be honest with you. Yeah. Comparing Robinson's numbers with Valdes-Scantling's, they're similar.
Right. There a lot of people in KC were just going crazy about this move, and I'm like, let's pump the brakes a little bit. You know, he's never really produced all that much yet. So
I mean, what they probably saw is that he led the league in yards per reception in 2020 with 20.9 yards per catch. And everyone got excited, like, he's going to catch so many bombs from Mahomes. It's just like, let's calm down.
Yeah.
I want to look at this more from the Green Bay perspective, because they lost Davonte Adams. They've lost Valdes-Scantling. I believe they lost another receiver to the Chicago Bears, too. So who the heck is Aaron Rodgers going to throw to this season?
All right, you ready? I got their depth chart pulled up. Juwan Winfrey. Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, Malik Taylor, Rico Gafford, Amari Rogers, Chris Blair. Those are your Packers tight ends, or wide receivers.
Wow.
Tight ends, Robert Tonyan, Mercedes Lewis, because he's still in the league somehow at 1,000,000 years old.
Incredible.
Josiah DeGuara, Tyler Davis, Dominique Daphne, and Elise Mack. I've heard of 2 of those people.
Same.
Yep. Yeah, it's incredible.
At the receivers, I've heard of 3 of them. So, like, they're going to have work to do.
Yeah, I mean, Lazard did some nice things last year, but, like, he's not a number 1 receiver. Like, these guys kind of stink.
Yeah.
To put it lightly.
Lucky for the Packers, they got picks 22 and 28 in the first round. They also got 53 and 59 in round 2. I imagine 2 of those picks are wide receivers.
Oh, I would think so, too.
I would think so. They've got to.
It's going to have to be. I mean, we're bordering on, like, that 1 year in New England where it was, like, Julian Edelman and, like, there was no over-the-top guys. You know what I'm talking about? It was just all, like, short yardage guys. It was, like, Julian Edelman, Kenny Britt, and I think another guy that was on that team. It's just, like, this is such a horrible group of wide receivers. And
Green Bay made some questionable decisions, though, when it comes to the draft, you know, so they might.
Hi, Jordan Love.
Right, exactly. So who knows, you know, I don't really remember them throwing first-round picks at skill players, you know, in a while, so it'll be interesting.
Sorry, I had a cough in my throat.
Eddie Lacy might be the last one.
Sounds familiar.
That might be the last time they spent on a skill position player in the first round.
Yeah, crazy.
Let me pull this up real quick because I can pull up their all-time draft history. Their last time they drafted a first-round skill position player.
Yeah, that immediately is what I thought. As soon as you said they'll take the 2 wide receivers, I'm like, yeah, but they don't do that typically.
No. They took the
Wasn't even
running
a third
back.
rounder.
Huh?
Eddie Lacy was a second rounder.
Yeah.
Oh, Jordan Nelson was a second rounder.
AJ Dillon was a second rounder, I think.
Okay, here we go. Last time they drafted a skill position player in round 1, 2002, Javon Walker.
20 years. People.
Damn.
20 years.
It's been
I didn't think
a couple
it was
quarterbacks and a lot of defense.
Wow.
In the first round.
Wow.
So yeah, that was my point. Was it sounds like they should, but who knows?
Trends got to change eventually. That's all I'll say.
That's the other thing about trends and statistics, and take it from somebody who likes to bet on games. Like some people live and die by trends, and you got to remember that every streak gets broken eventually.
Yeah.
And I'm one of the people that kind of looks at streaks, and I kind of go, well, they're due.
They're due. That's the spirit. They're due.
Yeah.
I mean, Michigan's streak was bound to end at some point against Ohio State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair. That's fair. It had to eventually.
Yeah.
So
While it didn't seem like it would for quite some time, it had to eventually.
Speaking of Kansas City, the 2023 NFL Draft will be taking place in Kansas City.
Good for Kansas City. It seems like a good host city.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be nothing but people talking about barbecue like the entire week.
Oh, yeah. Everything's going to be about barbecue.
It's going to be nonstop tweets and stories and shows about we're in the Kansas City for the draft. We have to go to this barbecue place.
Exactly.
They claim to have the best barbecue.
Yeah,
I love
Kansas
that.
City and Memphis both talk about that all the time, and Texas too.
I love that the NFL draft is on the road now and they're not doing it at Radio City Music Hall anymore.
Yeah, it was nice having it here in Cleveland.
Interesting. Had a different time.
Yeah.
I don't care where they have it because I'm never going to go because, it's not something that I would enjoy is to sit there.
Grueling.
It would just be like going to the airport, just waiting for something,
Basically.
And then it finally happens. And then it's not for me. I'm fine with watching it on TV because I can sit with my phone or my computer, scroll through Twitter.
Yep.
I want to have some beverages. I can just go and grab them from my fridge.
Don't got to pay $12 for a Bud Light.
Yeah. I was at the draft for the first 3 picks.
See, that's what I would do. If I was going to go, stay for a couple picks, stay till my team makes their first round pick, and then get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
But the draft is something that is it's so much more enjoyable to watch with your devices in front of you.
Yeah. I did want to stay for the entire first round, but my dad and I had a flight to catch the next day, and my sister and her boyfriend didn't want to stay out that late. So
I think we're all in agreement. We wouldn't stay for that whole draft unless we were paid to.
Yeah. The draft is long, and they milk it for every penny. They
do.
It's a big sponsorship event now. So
It is.
you gotta remember that it's going to be a long, drawn out process.
And with it being in Vegas this season, they're going to make it a show.
Yeah. It's funny when you watch shows on YouTube and stuff that do the draft, and then they realize what they got themselves into when they're 4.5 hours in and they're on pick 13 still in the first round.
Yes.
It's hilarious. I remember Pat McAfee show did it last year, and they went live at 7:30 when Kings of Leon were still on stage, and they weren't off the air until 1 something in the morning. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, so don't expect us to do some.
No, we are not covering the entire first round.
No way. Especially since the Browns no longer have a first pick.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They don't have their pick. And speaking of not having their pick anymore, it's because it is in Houston with Deshaun Watson, who the Browns did introduce today with a press conference with Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. The Haslams will be doing their own media availability through a Zoom call later today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
He's going to be watched really hard during that press
conference. What was that, Trick?
No, I said people are going to watch really, really hard on like his body language and everything throughout that press conference because of all the stuff.
It's over now. Yeah, it already happened.
They introduced him today already, and interesting, I guess, perception of the press conference. A lot of the people that cover the team locally appear to have said that it was successful, where a lot of the national people seem to be bashing it, which, I mean, that's just what it is. And that's what I expected anyways.
Yeah. He's a
yeah, this is a situation that no matter how you handle it, it's going to get bad press because it's a shitty situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what did you really expect to learn? You know, he can't say much while there's still, you know, all of these civil cases pending and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, he said a lot of what we expected him to say, that he's going to be a good teammate and a good leader and represent the city well and do a lot of good for the city and blah, blah, blah. So
yeah,
I mean, that's what everyone's going to say.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I did notice he said some very definitive statements during this.
Yeah, the one that struck me the most was that I don't have a problem.
I don't have a problem. I saw that another one where he pretty much said, like, I'm innocent, which I'm not going to like be the legal person here because that's not what I am. I'm not a legal expert, but it's quite the statement to put out there in public.
Yeah,
when you have these civil suits going against you.
I mean, if those are cleared and like, let's say they don't find any inch of like guilt, then maybe. But I don't. That's the only way I could see myself. Actually, like, I don't know, like that actually being like he's not guilty.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is too, in a lot of cases like this, like they're quick to settle because they just want to get it over with, but he seems to like stubbornly be standing by this idea that he's not settling because that's an admission of guilt. And that's interesting. It's a very bold stance to take. So
that's why I'm saying this now.
Yeah, I mean,
no guilt.
You know,
I would clear him at my book.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Time will tell.
I mean, he was in that second court case. He wasn't indicted. Or
yeah, he's not going to face criminal charges now. That's done.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is what it is. It's a weird situation. We talked about this the day after the trade on a special episode, but some people are going to denounce their fan base to this team. Others are, you know, they ignore the allegations and stuff and just be like, give me a winner. You're a winner. We saw what you did at Clemson. Like, do that here. Simple as that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just want to. I mean, I kind of want to see how these kind of cases go throughout time.
I mean, you might not know how those cases go ever, to be honest with you, because they're civil. No, they're not criminal. So it could be settled for undisclosed amount, and you won't learn another piece of information about it.
Right.
That's just the way it is. But the Browns do have another quarterback that they're trying to unload now. It's Baker Mayfield. Apparently, nobody wants him. Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody wants
Who
Baker.
could have saw this coming, James?
I can't say I'm not surprised, but it is still
okay. I'll say I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
The phrasing used between the Panthers and Baker with mutual disinterest, I've never saw that before. That was just like
he got fired, and that was like when you get fired but you quit before they could fire you. That's what that was. Like, he found out they didn't want him, and it was, oh well, I don't want you guys anyway. I didn't want you any. You know what I mean?
There's no way he's going to be on the roster for the Browns this season. That would be such an awkward situation.
Well, they really can't because of his cap hit. They have to move that contract one way or the other, because if they don't, it's going to really limit them on what they're able to do for the rest of free agency and signing draft picks.
And we don't need him. We got Jacoby Brissett. We have a backup. Just if they have to cut him, cut him.
I don't think he wants to leave.
You don't think he wants to leave? He demanded.
I know
a
he
trade.
wants to leave. I'm just making that as a joke.
He demanded a trade. I mean,
Yeah.
and nobody wants him. Because let's be real here. Like, look at all these other teams that could have acquired Baker Mayfield. Okay, the Colts, the Seahawks, the Broncos. The Bucks were interested for a minute. The Panthers said no. The Texans wanted no part of him in the Sean Watson trade.
Yep.
Nobody wants this guy. I mean,
the other leagues want him now.
When he demanded a trade, my immediate reaction on this show was just, be who you can afford to be. Like, this is a big mistake.
Yeah, you said that.
Yeah, be who you can afford to be. This is a mistake. You're demanding a trade, and you're not realizing that you don't have any kind of value right now. Nobody wants you.
Nobody wants him. And, I've said a lot of critical things about Baker Mayfield, and I'm sure, like, a lot of people think that I'm some sort of, like, Baker Mayfield hater, and I've never liked him. There was a time when I gave him a chance. I mean, Baker Mayfield cup from beat-ups. I specifically got that one.
Yep.
There was a moment that I woke up feeling dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
I got a jersey.
Yeah, me too.
I had this shirt and wore it all the time.
Yep. I'm tired of people giving me that bullshit that I've always just, that I've been a Baker hater. When we started this show, when I first joined the show, I was defending Baker. I was the only one on the show defending Baker.
You were.
I was too.
I really went to bat for him for as long as I could. And then it was just like, this guy has just pushed everyone away, even people like me who were fighting just desperately to see some kind of hope there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
he pushed me out. And
I was with you on that, Brian. I was like hoping he could get us to a Super Bowl. And then after that season, he just got exposed.
Yep.
I gave him a chance. I showed you the shit that I bought with his face on it, okay?
Yeah.
And his catchphrase, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw that he just was not good enough, that he was not going to do it, I'm like, we can't. You can't stick with this guy.
It's not personal either. Like, this happens all the time. Guys get drafted into the league all the time that never pan out to what, people thought they could. And it's like him taking all of this stuff so personally, it's just bizarre. It's like, this is business. This is the nature of the game that you play. Like, it's like he's so shocked by everything that happens in the NFL on a business side of things. And it's like, bro, this is how it's been done for a long time now. Like, you're the only one who is surprised by all this stuff.
I'm not surprised. I think in his head, I think he's probably thinking, oh, Cleveland's ungrateful because I'm the only quarterback that took him past the second round since 1999. That's what he gets stuck in his head. That's what's stuck in his head, and it will be there the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Well,
James,
his real issue is that he is a textbook example of the Dunning-Kruger effect in action. He overrates his own value and his own skill level and doesn't realize where he actually is. Okay.
Yep. Thinks he can play hurt. He thinks he can play. Yeah.
He thinks he's better than he actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he doesn't realize it.
Yeah.
James, you said this like a couple shows ago, I think. The playoff run completely screwed things up. They didn't want to pick up the 5th-year option for Baker Mayfield, but when the Browns went on that improbable run to make the playoffs and all that,
he forced their hand, to be fair. Yeah.
Exactly.
There's a reason why they picked up his 5th-year option and never even entertained offering him a contract extension. Those conversations never happened. Okay. Yep. That was very telling, and there are a lot of people out on Twitter denying that. Okay.
Right.
We have to be hypercritical. Now that we're all in the sports media industry, that's part of our job, which I do view this as a job in one sense. But we have to be hypercritical. We all are fans of the Browns, but at the same time, we have to take that part out and just be like, are you good or are you not? It's that simple.
Plus, this is more than a typical player, too. He's a quarterback. He plays the most important position in the game. He's a Heisman winner. He's the number 1 overall pick. He comes with all of these, accolades and whatnot that he sets that bar. He set that bar for himself. He should have known that he had to live up to that, and he hasn't. And it's not personal. It's not that we. Yeah, now I could say actually it kind of is. I don't like the guy, but it wasn't about that at first. It was just about the way that he was playing. But now the way that he's personalized this whole thing and like wants to have this like vendetta with every member of the Cleveland media that doesn't support him, and it's like I'm just tired of it.
He was thinking about going to the Steelers too.
Yeah, I feel
He'll
like
go anywhere at this point.
yeah,
he'll go somewhere that pays him money. But
Even if it's outside of the NFL too.
Might be his only chance.
Mhm.
He could be the MVP of the fan-controlled football league, maybe.
Pick up where Johnny left off.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, here's the one thing. If we do cut him and he signs with the Steelers, watch Mike Tomlin somehow be like, I can fix you. And then he goes on to terrorize us for like years. That always seems to happen. We talked about this on the sports channels yesterday, but it's like anytime a player leaves Cleveland, they somehow just magically improve and they come back and haunt us for like years. And we're just like, why couldn't you do this when you were with us?
I mean, I'll give
that's not going to happen.
If let's say, for example, if the Browns win the Super Bowl, I'll give this comparison, even though he's not as good as him. Baker Mayfield is like our Drew Bledsoe.
Here's a better example or comparison. He is Jared Goff in this situation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I'll give him credit where credit's due. He did get us to the second round. I can never take that away from him, but I don't think he's a great person.
Was he the one that got us to the second round?
Yes, he was.
But he was the quarterback of the team. He didn't get us there. He was the quarterback of the team that got us to the second round.
Maybe yeah.
But
Yeah, 1 of 53. You know, that's the thing that he fails to remember is that he's not the only reason that they got, you know, where they got.
Right.
If anything, it could be argued that they were winning in spite of Baker.
Yeah.
I mean,
his numbers weren't even that great. You know,
it's like 26-8.
What's that?
They weren't that good. I mean, we had this conversation before the season about a year ago where I was trying to explain, and I've had this argument with people going on for over a year on the internet. The year that Baker was successful in 2020, he was a passenger in the offense. He wasn't the driver of the offense. He wasn't Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen type. He was a guy that he was along for the ride.
That's a good way to describe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even a game manager either. Like game manager is in charge, you know.
Mhm.
He's more of a game follower. Like follow the game plan and execute, and that's it, you know.
Yep. I mean, you could make an argument that the only reason we beat the Steelers in the wild card game is because Pittsburgh shot themselves in the foot.
I mean,
that game started as poorly as it possibly could for them.
that Steelers team wasn't that good. Okay,
That's the other thing.
They overachieved. They maxed out early in the season. They came to a complete crash at the end of the season.
Mhm.
And like they weren't that good. Their record was a mirage. Okay, and they got exposed in down the stretch and in that playoff game.
Yeah.
I gotta find my tweet from before that season.
Like
when they're 11-0. I know that I tweeted this is the worst 11-0 football team of all time.
And here's the other thing too, is that even in that week 17 game when it was win and you're in for the Browns, we were playing against the Steelers backups. And I think we only won by 2.
They didn't win by much.
Like, if Baker Mayfield is as good as he says he is, or as good as he thinks he is, we should have won by 14 at least.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or at least a larger score.
Yeah, I mean, if Baker was such the great quarterback in that Steelers game, they would have not came back. They would have
Exactly.
closed it out.
Right.
I mean, you
That's
had that
exactly what I'm saying, Chirk.
large lead and you blow it.
Listen to the teams that Pittsburgh team lost to after starting 11-0 too. It was the Commanders, not good. The Bengals, who at the time were they finished 3-10 that year, 3-10-1. So yeah, like they lost to some really bad teams before that playoff game against us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They weren't that good. Okay,
Yeah.
And you know. When it comes to Baker and beating that team and where he sits, I mean, the one number I always come back to is he leads the league in interceptions since he was drafted. Okay, That's not a good thing to lead the league in.
Especially in our offense where he's not throwing the ball 50 times.
Right.
Like
And
that number would make a lot more sense for these gunslingers. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
when Favre would lead the league in interceptions, he'd also lead the league in touchdowns, because he was just slinging it. But like this is a different situation. He's only throwing the ball, 20 to 25 times a game, and he leads the league in interceptions. Like that's bad.
right. I mean, going back to that playoff run for a second, yeah, we only lost 22-17, but that's because Mahomes got hurt. If Mahomes doesn't get injured, Kansas City was on their way to blowing us out by, I would say, 30.
Yeah, that game was never really going to end up being close.
No.
Yeah, I mean, that game was close, but it really wasn't as close as what the score
said. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's what that is.
People are going to say, oh, did you see how well Baker played to get us back into that game and all that? So what? We just said it. If Mahomes doesn't get injured, we get blown out.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But
probably. And how many times did we see, in Baker's career when the ball was in his hands at the end of a game in position to win? It happened a lot. Like he was given that opportunity time and time again, and it just fell short every time.
He's just not good enough those situations. I mean, against like actual good teams, I don't think he ever had a game-winning drive against an actual good team.
I don't think so either.
There were multiple times this season you could point to, like week one.
He had 0 game-winning drives this season. This is the first time he didn't have a single comeback or whatever, a game-winning drive in his career. And there were multiple times this season where he had the opportunity to lead the team down the field, less than 4 minutes left, ball in his hand, down by a score less, and he failed.
Yep.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, I can think of 2 examples of that, 3 examples right off the bat. Week 1 against Kansas City, week 5 against the Chargers, and week 8 against the Steelers. 3 golden opportunities where you're in position to lead the team down the field, and week 1 he throws a stupid interception when the guy's grabbing at his feet. I mean, there's an argument to be made that he was trying to throw the ball out of bounds.
He wasn't. That's horseshit. We've seen him make that exact throw millions of times. Not really, but it's that zip bullet throw to the guy on the sideline. He got hit, which resulted in becoming that little lame duck pass that got easily picked off.
Yeah.
He wasn't throwing it away. He was trying to rifle it into, I think it was Harrison Bryant.
Yeah, he's trying to force something into Harrison Bryant. I think that's how I remember it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. At first, I thought it was the throwaway. Actually, first it was what actually I think happened. Then the hive mind of the internet maybe think, oh, maybe he was trying to throw it away. And I'm like, no, bullshit. I'm going to watch this again. He's trying to rifle it into Harrison Bryant.
Right, and this is before the injury too. So it's like everybody that's like, oh, well, he got injured. Like, no, when he wasn't injured to start the season, and he started the season much like he ended it. It wasn't that good.
He's just a lot of. He's not a good decision maker. I'm sorry,
No.
He's not. He still can't read the field post snap. Like, I don't remember. I saw something on the internet and I commented on, like, unless he's taller and can suddenly read the field, it's not going to matter.
Baker in the first half can read the field.
He really can't read the field in the first half. He just doesn't throw as many interceptions in the first half, but maybe because he's less aggressive in the first half. But
he should have just stayed that way throughout the season. Maybe he could have won more games.
He just stinks.
He's not good enough. And
he's not good enough to be a starter in this league, and that's why, like, the whole, he's gonna go somewhere and we're gonna be haunted by him, and it's gonna be no. That happens with a lot of players. It's not gonna happen with Baker because he's a dumpster fire of a quarterback.
I mean, like, look, no team wants him. Okay,
right.
And I'll say the best thing to come out of this entire thing, where the Browns are going to be getting rid of Baker, is all of the Sooners fans on Browns Twitter just being like Thanos snapped out of existence. It is beautiful. Okay.
Yeah.
No more Sooner crap. No more Baker Bros. This is so much better.
No more progressive commercials.
Those progressive
were all right. I'm fine with the commercials. I never hated on them for the commercials because they're actually good commercials, and it's hard.
I hated on them for them.
I
mean,
hated on them for him because it just like when he had a bad game and then did one of those
It was a bad
commercials.
look
it
in
just
20
looked bad.
Baker commercials after you see him play like shit.
Yeah.
But
It
he's
was
not
like-
gonna have those commercials anymore. We know he's not gonna wherever he
Yeah.
goes next. I mean, he's not gonna have progressive commercials anymore.
What are we gonna get at home with Deshaun Watson now?
We're not gonna get any of those.
Better
Progressive's
not.
Progressive's not gonna tie themselves to that. But his progressive commercials aren't gonna continue. I don't think. I mean,
He should have waited to do those commercials. You got to earn that. You have to earn
No, you
that.
get your money while you can.
Whoa.
You
Hold on.
Crazy.
No, I think you have to earn it.
First things first, Brian. You're right. Earn your money while you can. Second, those commercials didn't start till year 2 of Baker Mayfield. So fact check.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. But I'm gonna steal a
Still have to
line.
earn it.
I'm gonna steal a line from your favorite analyst, James Stephen A. Smith.
Jesus.
He had more commercials than touchdowns.
True.
It's
Probably.
true. Baker Mayfield's the quarterback version of Mac Wilson, okay? Mac Wilson with his tweets to tackle ratio. Shout out Zach Jackson, okay?
Yeah.
That's what that is.
I just hate this idea that like guys shouldn't like get sponsorship opportunities until after they do things. Like who would you ever not sign your name on the dotted line for $1 million if someone wanted to give it to you? Like,
Then in that case,
do
stay
you do?
local. Stay local. I don't think those
Progressive is local.
Progressive's headquartered in Mayfield.
Yeah,
Why do you
very
think-
local.
Why do you think Jacob Field got changed to Progressive Field?
Progressive's a local company, Shirk.
Yeah.
They are a
I put-
nationwide company, but they
I
are.
That's who else is Rocket Mortgage. Well, they're out of Michigan, but yeah, like these
Well, Dan
companies.
Gilbert's from Michigan.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like these companies are sponsored by local companies or companies that the owners own. So
Yeah. We're not going to. You're not going to see the Brown Stadium once their First Energy sponsorship goes away, sponsored by Publix, okay, or Ralph's or
Exactly.
Piggly Wiggly. You know what I mean?
mhm.
It's going to be a local
Sponsored by
company.
Shitcoin or whatever the new
something recognizable to the local market. That's what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
NFT Park or whatever. the fuck.
Oh, you mean Crypto.com Arena?
Yeah, there you go.
Would you say the Baker commercials were worse than the Hugh Jackson ones though? With the Mr. Hero.
Hugh Jacksons were worse.
Those are terrible.
They get
Yeah.
0-16, and then all of a sudden, hey, look at this! Look at the Roman burger right here.
He had the Roman Bird commercial before he went 0-16, but like any of the Mr. Hero commercials were terrible because Mr. Hero is terrible. Okay, it is trash food.
Oh man, I love the Roman burger,
I
dog.
like the Roman burger when I was like 21 years old.
It's so disgusting. Like, what are we
It is.
doing?
Oh,
There
dude.
are so many of those damn things by my house. It's like a goddamn plague.
Yeah.
The
What
worst
I've
is-
never had one.
shitty commercials. We got to talk about the Jack Conklin and
Oh,
Yeah, confident-
no, no,
Just
we are not
commercials.
talking about that terrible.
the
Awful
Slipper Shield
commercial.
shuffle. That's awful. That's embarrassing. Baker
Your favorite-
commercials are okay.
Your city's favorite quarterback.
Uh,
Get the fuck off my
Thank
TV.
thank you.
Get the
So-
fuck off my TV.
All right, so people that aren't here anymore, let's stop talking about them. People that could be coming back, Odell.
I heard about that.
Odell
Now,
Beckham Jr. might be coming back to Cleveland.
I
was
see what
okay.
you're trying to do there, Brian. That was good attempt. I like it.
I mean, once
OBJ
he found out
might
like,
be
a better
coming back.
situation, he wanted to. He hopped on the bandwagon.
Hey, and who was ahead of this situation? James and I both were ahead of this situation.
Yes, you were.
We've kind of called
Yep.
it from a mile away. It was
That-
we had a 30,000-foot view to watch this transpire, and it's happening, and I cannot be more excited for it. Assuming he's healthy and that he's still capable of being himself. But it seems like the interest is definitely mutual as long as he's going to be able to recover from that knee injury.
Yeah, Beckham has reportedly not closed the door on Cleveland, despite everyone trying to say terrible things to Mary Kay Cabot on the internet.
Yeah,
Uh,
he easily could have said "fuck Cleveland."
Yeah, he said he hasn't closed the door. Then there was the Instagram video of John Johnson the other night saying OBJ is going to be coming back, but you didn't hear it from me.
Mhm.
You think he is going to tell Von Miller, "Hey, I remember when I said don't come to Cleveland? Let's go."
Well,
Yeah.
Von Miller's in Buffalo now.
Yeah, he's
So.
in Buffalo,
Yeah,
and that would've been cool.
Yeah, we completely forgot about Bob Miller going to Buffalo in our little round robin mock draft thingy.
Yeah,
I mean-
he's getting up there in age too. That Khalil Mack thing and him, like those guys are getting old. You know, they're getting up there.
Yeah,
I think
I still like that pairing of what the Chargers did with Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson. I
If they
mean,
can stay healthy with them and Bosa and all them, yeah, it's gonna be impressive. But the problem is none of those guys can stay healthy.
And Mack has taken quite the drop off from once he went from Vegas to Chicago, and
True.
he's only getting older because that's how time works.
Yep.
And
you don't say.
and Joey Bosa gets hurt all the time.
He's made of glass.
Like
He's a stud. That's
he
what
saw him get
sucks.
hurt a little bit in college from
Yeah.
time to time, but that dude's gotten hurt all the time with Chargers.
Yeah.
Yep. It's unfortunate too because he's
Both their Bosas are like that. They're both made of glass.
yeah. It's got to be something genetic with them because they just cannot stay healthy.
Their bones are just, like you said, made up of glass. Just
Bones
like
of glass.
twigs.
But
Anyway, going back to OBJ, if he comes back,
that would be hilarious.
It would be
I would
awesome.
laugh my ass off.
That'd be so
So
funny. It'd be so funny. And you know, Jarvis and Clowney might be coming back too.
Right.
I
To
thought
see
Jarvis
the
got signed
whole
to the
gang
Bucs.
come back after everybody was like out on Baker and everything.
Mhm.
To see Baker out on the outside looking in and those guys all back on the field with Deshaun
It'd be
Watson.
so funny. It'd be so funny.
So fucking great.
Oh my! I would just, if I was Baker Mayfield, I would be like, really? You're doing this to me?
You think
I'm the scapegoat now.
Well, he was always the problem.
This
Remember-
is football karma.
Like, do you remember when everyone was trying to make it everybody else's fault?
But
It-
Baker,
it'll be baseball.
OBJ's running the wrong routes, and yeah, it was always about
coach
everybody
was
else.
bad.
Baker.
Freddie Kitchens. Well, actually, Freddie Kitchens was bad. I'm
He
sorry.
was.
Freddie Kitchens was bad. Hugh Jackson was bad too. But you saw him finger point at every chance he got. I mean, go back to college. Cliff Kingsbury was the problem for him
Yeah,
as a freshman. So like, what are we doing? Like, this guy loves to deflect blame. It's what it is.
Yeah.
That's who Baker Mayfield is. That's who he's always going to be. I don't think that's going to change.
I mean, I remember there were like red flags to begin with when he was giving the middle fingers to Ohio State, when he was running away from the
He
cops.
didn't give the middle finger to Iowa State. I think that was Kansas, maybe. But he did the flag plant. Okay.
Yeah.
Running away from the cops, that was another red flag. Why did we draft him first overall?
John Dorsey felt like he had to draft somebody that was like looked the most NFL ready because he knew he was on the hot seat.
John Dorsey wasn't on the hot seat.
Yeah, he wasn't on the hot
I
seat.
would say that tandem was him and Hugh Jackson.
Hugh Jackson was on the hot seat. That was the first year of Dorsey being there. He wasn't on the hot seat.
Oh yeah, you're right. My bad.
Yeah, he wasn't on the hot seat yet. I mean, he thought that Baker Mayfield was a winner. He thought that it's the traditional botched draft pick story. This guy's a winner. He's fiery. He pumps people up and all this other crap. And it's just, I mean, if you go back, the conversation about the quarterbacks there was always between Darnold and Baker. Lamar Jackson was a complete afterthought. Josh Rosen was kind of in that discussion a little bit, and nobody knew what was going to happen with Josh Allen, where he was going to get drafted. I mean, as a day one Josh Allen guy, okay, I would have loved Josh Allen, okay, but he went to Buffalo, and good for Buffalo.
I
mean-
personally wanted Sam Darnold. I know I regret.
I was the same way, Josh. I was
Yeah.
the same way, but looking back, it was a better decision not to draft him.
Although Chirk, I will say this: I don't think Darnold's a bad quarterback.
He's bad. He's bad.
Give him some.
No.
Give him one more chance, James.
Sure.
No, what, he gets? Why is he another chance? He stinks. He is
Sure.
the second coming of Mark Sanchez. What are we doing?
Sure.
He's only like 25 years old.
Wait,
Who cares? He sucks.
Chirk. I think part of the reason why he sucks now is because he went to the Jets, and the Jets seem to ruin everybody.
I mean, here's the problem with Sam Darnold. Okay, Sam Darnold was never a great passer at USC. Number one. Number two, He fumbled a ton, okay? And you know what he still does? Fumbles a ton. He's just not good.
But am I wrong that the Jets absolutely broke him?
I don't know about that. I mean, he played exactly how I thought he would play. And bad was it. I didn't think he was going to be good. I didn't think he was going to have like this he's going to be the answer for the Jets at quarterback. You know what I mean? I never thought he was going to be good. I was always concerned with this fumble ratio and how often he did. And he fumbles a lot.
So for a lot of those like bust lists, he's going to be on that list, isn't he?
Sam Darnold's on that bust list because he is a bust.
So is Josh Rosen.
Josh Rosen's an all-time bust.
Yes.
Not the all-time bust, but an all-time bust.
Who
He's
is
still in the league, huh?
Who is the all-time bust?
Ryan Leaf.
Jamarcus Russell. Jamarcus Russell went number one. Ryan Leaf was two. Ryan Leaf was number two.
True.
I go the opposite.
Number one. Russell was number one. Ryan Leaf was number two in the draft. So I think that gives Jamarcus Russell the little boost there. Also, Jamarcus Russell was taken ahead of Calvin Johnson and Joe Thomas. Okay, two Hall of Fame
Adrian
players.
Peterson too.
And Adrian Peterson.
Good point.
Darrelle Revis.
Lots of guys. Yeah. They were all from that draft class. Wow.
Although they did have Nnamdi Asomugha, so I can understand that logic.
I mean, they were always going to take a quarterback number one overall.
Right.
And I do believe that before Al Davis stepped in and interfered, they were leaning towards Calvin Johnson. And
Is Zion Williamson Jamarcus Russell-ing himself out of the NBA?
Maybe.
Because did it not feel like Jamarcus Russell ate his way out of the NFL?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he did.
He had some weight issues immediately that to really hinder him and his abilities.
That dude was over 300 pounds by the time
It's huge.
He was with the Raiders. I mean, that guy was everyone in the building knew that guy was a bust within a couple weeks of him being on the team. My favorite story always is that they gave him DVDs. They told him to watch it. He comes back the next day, asked him what he watched, and he said some Blitz packages. The DVDs were blank. He never watched them. Okay.
Yeah, they set him up. The ruse.
Because they didn't think he was actually studying or working on anything. It turns out that he wasn't.
Yeah, that was an all-time gotcha move.
Yeah.
I've never heard that story.
You've never heard that story? That's an all-time
it's
story.
a classic. Didn't it was Kirk Morrison who told that story, I think.
I think so. But
you're right.
You look at Ryan Leaf had his own issues. Going to Vegas, I think the night of the draft or before his introductory press conference, that might have been all the same 2-day period there.
Trying to be the new
that was a bad look for him.
He was trying to be like NSYNC on the mic.
How about Brown's biggest draft bust? Are we going Baker?
No.
Trent Richardson?
Yes.
No, I wouldn't say Trent Richardson.
Courtney?
That's a tough one.
Manziel?
I'm going Trent Richardson.
Yes.
Manziel?
I'm putting Manziel. I really don't like him.
I might go Justin Gilbert.
Oh, yeah,
Justin Gilbert was picked 7th, or 8th, or whatever it was. Manziel was 22.
Yep, that's true. We got Manziel with our second pick in the first round.
Yeah, that was the pick we got from Indianapolis.
So it wasn't our first pick, so that can't be really as high of a bust in my opinion.
So I think Gilbert's up there. Man.
Baker.
I'm going Trent Richardson because he was we thought he was this great running back at Alabama, and then he gets to the NFL, and it's just, can you do anything?
Yeah, I mean, let's assume that Baker's future career goes how we expect it to go, and he's out of the league shortly.
He will take the number 1 spot then.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that.
Yeah, he will.
He would definitely take the number 1 spot.
If he just kind of goes off in the sunset and just doesn't play anymore, then sure. If he honestly, I think there's a spot for him in the NFL as a career backup. Okay.
Yeah.
He's not going to like that, but
that's the problem. If he would have embraced that role, he could have a Graham Harrell-esque career and make a bunch of money.
I was going to say Colt McCoy because he's still in the league.
Yeah, true.
I coming out of the draft, I compared Baker Mayfield to a very strong-armed Colt McCoy.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Honestly, because they're relatively the same size.
Yeah,
They both played in the Big 12. They both have a little bit of mobility to their game, but they're not runners.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad we never did a
passing
quarterback design run with Baker. Could you imagine if we did quarterback design runs with Baker? Oh, God, that would have been not good to watch.
I wouldn't mind seeing him get blown up by some dudes, but
Oh, jeez.
All right, moving on. This is a big announcement happening over in New York. They're rolling back the vaccine mandate for athletes, which is going to have an impact for a lot of players. Is going to make probably the biggest impact for a team like the Nets. It's also going to make a big impact baseball-wise for the Mets and the Yankees.
big time.
For them, this is very, very important because there are still unvaccinated players on their rosters. I believe Aaron Judge is one of them.
I believe you're right.
Anthony Rizzo is one, I believe, too, as well. If they were not going to be able to play in their home stadium, and they already can't play in Toronto, okay, so they already can't go to Toronto to play. So that's going to be like 9 or 10 games against the Blue Jays that they're not going to be able to play. That would be so crushing for those teams. It would completely alter the landscape of the AL East.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
This is big time news for the entire New York market in sports because they seem to all have issues with unvaccinated players. So, and Kyrie, he's looked very, very well when he has been on the court.
Mm-hmm.
So it's exciting for a team like the Nets that's on the rise now, and might be on the opposite end of the play-in. They're in the play-in tournament now, is what I meant to say, and But I think that's a team that can catapult into that 6-5 position and make a run.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know my feelings about this whole Kyrie thing. I'm not going to go on. Don't worry, I'm not going to go on a tangent about it, but I don't like him. I just don't.
I'm not a big fan of him, but I gotta say I'm grateful for the shot.
Yeah.
I'm not unlike other fans out there, I'm not gonna be like he didn't contribute to the Cavs because he did. He did.
Yeah.
I'm a Kyrie fan. I still am.
I am.
He's an incredible basketball player. He hit the most important shot in Cavs history. I still liked him when he was in Boston. I still like him when he's in Brooklyn. Yeah, the dude's a little out there sometimes, okay, but a lot of people are, to be honest with you. But I mean, to be honest, like before he went off the deep end, like one of my favorite musical artists was Kanye. Then he went just too far for me. But like I was accepting a lot of his eccentricities.
Yes.
Personality wise, he's like the opposite of Kanye.
Well, I'm just saying like eccentric people.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't see anything bad. Like, what has Kyrie done to hurt anybody?
Yeah, I get that, but just a lot of it.
That's a bad point with the vaccine mandate and everything. But
Yeah.
I mean, like, he's not a guy that's getting accused of violent crimes or drug usage or just people have problems with him being a little out there personality wise, and
Yeah.
He might smoke
some of
weed,
his
but other than that,
views of history and things, might be a little out there, but
They are.
I just don't see him as like this villain character that all these people in Cleveland do.
the Earth is flat thing. That's another thing he gets hate for.
Yeah, he was a flat earther for a minute.
He gave up on that.
But then he said the trick was I wanted to see what people do. That was like that's what he said afterwards.
I remember he said that he got down some rabbit holes and he got too far and couldn't find his way back. Essentially, that happens to people sometimes.
Yeah, anybody who dabbles in the world of conspiracies, that'll happen to. You end up down some funky rabbit holes when you dive into that world. And I think that potentially he was led astray a few times with some of the things that he's latched onto.
I feel like that's happened to most
I
of us.
personally love the guy. I think I think his number should be retired in Cleveland, personally.
Same.
I wouldn't be surprised if his number gets retired in Cleveland, and I wouldn't be opposed to it. I appreciate him as a basketball player. He's one of the best guards in the league. I just think I just don't agree with his viewpoints. So,
That's fine.
Yeah, that's how I view it.
That's if we were to go through all of our viewpoints together, we would all disagree on something together.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah. Right. I mean, me and Brian, we've had text messages back and forth where we disagree on shit. Like,
oh yeah, several times. Yeah,
I know.
You know what I mean? So that's just how it goes.
If someone agrees with me on everything, that just feels weird.
Yeah, for me, Kyrie's just a little too much of a whack job. If that makes sense.
But who isn't?
That's
I think that job's a little bit strong. I mean,
it's a little bit harsh.
Yeah, that is a little harsh.
I think out there, eccentric.
Okay, he's a little too eccentric for me. Personally.
There you go. I think that's a little bit more.
Do you think he's selfish? Is that like the stance that you're taking? Like his?
Yeah, I view him as a little bit selfish. Like, because for me, it's like he's the one that I felt like recruited Durant to Brooklyn, and then because he wanted to put this championship team together and all that, and then he goes and decides, nope, I'm not going to get the vaccine, and pretty much leaves Kevin Durant out to dry a little bit. I'm like, dude, this is your idea. Why are you?
I think Kevin Durant was on Kyrie's side, if I'm not mistaken.
He kind of flip-flop back and forth a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could understand that. He probably was one day like human rights, and then another day like please take it.
Yeah, and like the whole thing with the January 6th events, like Kyrie saying like I need to take a few days off because of that whole thing. Like, he did say that.
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure he said that. Like the events of January 6th, I'm pretty sure he said like I need to take like a siesta or whatever.
Yes, so that's a nap. First. You might be thinking of a different word.
Fiesta?
That is not the word you meant. Sabbatical. That's probably what
yes, sabbatical. I don't know.
A siesta is
gone off the goddamn rails.
Anyways, let's get back to get off Kyrie now. There's some more movement in free agency for baseball and a trade and some other stuff to happen. So let's start here at the top. Nick Castellanos to the Phillies.
Drive to left field.
Yep. I mean, that's just gonna every single time it's a home run. That's all it's gonna happen. But the Phillies apparently are just dead set on trying to have like the world's worst defense of all time.
Apparently.
Like you have two DHs in Castellanos and Schwarber that they just signed in like a week. You know, their defense was already bad before. Okay, it's gonna be worse this year.
Time out. All right.
100%.
I'm taking my time out. Bye.
So with Castellanos and Schwarber, they add those two guys. Neither of those two are strong defenders either.
Get back out of here, Unger. He was just joking.
They were both corner outfielders already. And you look at Bryce Harper, he's a corner outfielder. So like between those three, one of those is gonna be a DH every game.
Right.
Preferably Schwarber or Castellanos and not Harper. But like I don't know what the hell they're doing. Like they're just going all in.
Apparently they believe in the analytics that some of their numbers are telling them that defense isn't that important and that these other things are, because they have abandoned defense completely on that team, James. Like they're like historically bad defensively, this team, if they have some of these players out on the field. So yeah, this is alarming in a way for me, but God, they're loaded though. They're so loaded. They're
going to hit the fuck out of the ball. They're going to score runs like nobody's business. I mean, Real Muto, Rhys Hoskins, Gene Segura. Gene Segura is a very underrated player, by the way. Yeah.
At least in the regular season, but like in the postseason, that defense and stuff like that matters so much when these games are separated by inches. Like so, it'll be interesting.
This outfield group, like they can hit a ton, but oh god, they cannot play defense for the life of them. Let's look at here. Schwarber, Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos, Adubel Herrera. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just National League teams now that they have the DH, they're just trying to get as many power bats as they can. And it's like, dude, you only have one DH.
I mean, they're not going to have any defense. The people I feel bad about the most are the pitching staff. Anyone on this team that's not a strikeout guy, that is a more pitch to contact guy. I'm looking at one right now. Kyle Gibson. Okay. Yeah. Best of luck, buddy. Best of luck, buddy.
And that's the other thing, James, is they can't bring guys like that to town anymore. Like if that's the style of pitcher you are, like not on this team.
Lucky for them, they still have Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola. They can strike them out with the best of them. But they got quite a few guys that are more pitch to contact and strikeout guys, and that's going to be There's going to be a lot of 12-10 finals with the Phillies this year.
100%.
Yeah,
a lot of home runs on both.
Do you think the Phillies can challenge the Braves for the division title?
Sure, but I probably wouldn't even pick the Braves to win that division currently.
Interesting.
Wow. They're the defending World Series champs, and you wouldn't pick them.
They were like, what, an 89-win team last year?
Yeah, they were not a high seed.
They were not a high seed. I love Ronald Acuna. I think Matt Olson's a great player too, but like nobody expected that from the Braves, right? No, I mean, no one did. I mean, they lost two of their outfielders that they brought in because at the deadline because of free agency.
Right.
And Marcell Ozuna is a complete question mark because you don't know what the hell he's going to do. Like, I don't know. Like, if I'm picking teams in that division to win the division, it's hard not to pick the Mets, okay? Mm-hmm. It really is. They're 1-2 at the top of their rotation, DeGrom and Scherzer. Max Scherzer, number 2 starter? Are you kidding?
I know. It's insane to think that he's a number 2 on any team.
And you look at their batters, they still got Lindor, they got Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, J.D. Davis, Dom Smith, and they just added Starling Marte and Mark Cannon to that mix. Like, that's one hell of a lineup. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that one.
One of the better divisions in baseball now.
Mm-hmm. And they still they have Carlos Carrasco too in their rotation. They still got what's his name? Taijuan Walker.
Mm-hmm.
Seth Lugo is a solid back end of the bullpen guy. Edwin Diaz, when he's on, is lights out. But, you know, when he's off, you'll see Frank the Tank call him Ed Lose Diaz. So
yes.
Yes.
Tank and his puns are so good.
He's the best. I can't wait for the Mets to lose the first game of the season and Frank to have a complete meltdown. He's going 162.
Yep, 100%. You know it's coming.
But moving on, Carlos Correa signed with the Twins.
Interesting.
I don't know what the Twins are doing.
I don't know.
It's an upgrade, sure. It's an addition. Like, Carlos Correa's market obviously was never there. There were no big deals that were even on the table for him. He said so himself. But like, Correa with the Twins is just like, the way his contract is structured, there's opt-outs after year 1 and year 2. So like, if he has a good year, opt out of year 1, go and see if you get that big deal. But I'd be very, very cautious about giving a big deal to a 6'6" shortstop with back issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
His listed at 6'4", but I think you're right. He's closer to 6'6". He's huge.
Yeah. I don't know what the Twins are doing, and I thought Carlos Correa valued winning. Apparently he doesn't, because the Twins aren't winning anytime soon.
I mean, it's a possible that the Twins could surprise in the AL Central this year. I don't think they're going to. I think they're banking on last year being an anomaly and that they'll just go right back to being what they were before. I mean, they still have some pretty decent hitters in their lineup with Max Kepler and Miguel Sano when he's actually making contact with the ball and not being demoted to single A because he can't hit anything. He's a pretty good hitter.
A lot of smart baseball minds picked the Twins to win the division last year. You know,
I did not.
Yeah, I'm not one of them, but yeah, like you're right. Like they have some things in place there, but like, yeah, I don't think last year was an anomaly. I think you're right. That's how they're approaching it. Is last year was an off year for us, but I think that it's more of the rule and less the exception in this instance.
And they acquired Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela, and they still have Jorge Polanco and Luis Ariz, and their outfield's okay. I can't believe Jake Cave is still on their team. Okay, that guy's just been around there forever. But Trevor Larnach's a guy to watch. Byron Buxton, whether or not he can ever stay healthy. Everyone's always waiting for the Byron Buxton breakout, and when he starts to do it, he gets hurt.
Yep. If I had to pick an AL Central Division winner right now, I know the White Sox had a really good year last year. I'm not ready to say they're that sustainable, so I'm picking Detroit.
I mean, that's possible. Detroit made some moves. They did sign Javi Baez.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pick Detroit.
Personally, I'm not picking Detroit.
You're sticking with the White Sox?
I would probably pick White Sox.
Yeah, I'm leaning White Sox for sure.
I think both teams make the playoffs. I like how Detroit is going at it a little bit more. And
Detroit made some good moves. Tucker Barnhart, getting him from the Reds, that was a good move for catcher. Brian, I know how you like your catchers.
I do. I love my catchers.
They still got Jonathan Scope and Miguel Cabrera. Jeimer Candelario is still is he going to do something? Ever since they got him from the Cubs a couple years ago, I believe that was in the Castellanos trade. That guy's just been meh. But Javi Baez, Akil Baddoo was fun for a minute early on last year. But,
he had a moment in the sun, but that kind of fizzled out.
Yeah.
Robbie Grossman was okay. Daz Cameron's one of their highly regarded prospects. Victor Reyes, same goes for him. But I can't look at this team this team's gonna go toe to toe with the White Sox and win. I mean, Casey Mize, he's got a lot of promise. And Eduardo Rodriguez, I was surprised he went to Detroit. Spencer Turnbull, Terry Skubal, Matt Manning, Michael Pineda round out your starters. But I don't know. I can't really pick that team to win the division. Maybe they get second or third, but not win.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. I'm iffy on the White Sox on if last year was really the start of something, or was it just a flash in the pan type thing. And from what I've seen of Detroit, I think I see a little more promise from them. So
pulling up just some projections.
That's why I'm going with Detroit more.
Right now, this particular article from 8 hours ago, their computer projections have Chicago winning, 86 games and Detroit winning 70. So for what it's worth, these computer models seem to be favoring the White Sox by about 10 games over Detroit.
Yeah.
What did the computer models have Cleveland at?
This particular one has us with the Detroit Tigers at 78 wins and 84 losses.
That seems to be a little bit generous. I don't know if this team can even get to 70 wins.
No, they'll get to 70 wins. They're not Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, they're not going to lose 110 games, but they might lose 100.
But we'll get to the Guardians in a minute. But we got a couple more signings. Trevor Story goes to the Red Sox to play second base.
I love that move for Boston.
It's a great move for the Red Sox because they kept Trevor Story going to New York.
It's incredible, really, how it worked out for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They got a good lineup.
Hell yeah, they do.
And maybe a year down the line, they swap out Bogarts and Story, or push Bogarts to third, Devers to first or DH or something.
Mm-hmm.
But Story is just going to slide in at second base, and that's mostly because of the timing of the signing and with the, I guess, season starting in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I think. So so he's going to be at second. I think that's a great pickup for the Red Sox. Red Sox are definitely going to be a trouble for that AL East.
Yeah.
100%. We talked about the Braves a little bit earlier. Kenley Jansen goes to Atlanta. I don't know what to do or think about this. This is a guy that has been just kind of cracks have been forming in his performance over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a guy that once had some real promise and has just kind of been trending in the wrong direction, we'll say. Mm-hmm. So this one didn't really do anything for me. I don't think it particularly made Atlanta any better.
Hello, Beth.
Hi, Beth.
It's an arm at the back end of their bullpen. You can never have enough bullpen guys. So
that's the thing. Anytime you hear about a team like this adding an arm to the bullpen, it's like, yeah, okay, they probably needed to do that, but yeah, not really a splash move here.
Yeah, I probably would rather have Atlanta's bullpen than Phillies. Phillies has got the implosion crew with Jerry's Familia leading the way there.
Yeah, I'd rather have their bullpen down there in Atlanta.
Yeah, and a former Brave goes down to Miami. Jorge Soler is now with the Marlins.
Okay. That's
that caught me off guard.
Yeah, 100%.
One, because the Marlins spent money, and they spent money on Jorge Soler when they could have spent a little more and got Nick Castellanos,
right?
Who they were after. But Soler's just going to hit bombs. That's what he's going to do, right?
Yeah.
He's going to hit bombs. He's going to strike out. But, yeah, I was really surprised to see him land down there in Miami.
Yeah, I was too. It was kind of surprising a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say out of all of these, Correa to the Twins kind of shocked me a little bit, but Soler to Miami even more so.
Yeah, that one was just like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a trade. Randall Grichuk swapped for Raimel Tapia, Toronto and Colorado making that trade. This move has a big impact on the AL East, and here's why. Grichuk basically just destroys Yankee pitching, and now he's out of the division.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, he was a Yankee killer.
Let me see if I can pull it up. I follow a couple of Blue Jays people on Twitter, and they were talking about the impact.
Didn't Toronto have another big signing too?
Big signing? I don't think they had a big signing, but let's see.
They made a.
They traded for Matt Chapman. We talked about that a week and a half ago. 17 career home runs in 64 games against the Yankees.
Wow. That's incredible.
The dude matches Yankee pitching. So Yankee fans everywhere, guys will follow some of them. We're very happy to see Grichuk to no longer be in the division. But I am also happy as a Grichuk fantasy owner to see him go to Colorado and hit moon bombs. Okay?
There you go. Going to Colorado, anytime you've got a fantasy player and they go to Colorado, it's so exciting.
Oh, it's so fun.
You cannot wait until the ball just starts flying off their bat there.
Yep.
Yeah.
We had a former Cleveland baseball player retire. Andrew Miller has called it a career.
One of the goats for bullpen pitchers. Yes.
Miller lights out. Okay. That's the reason I'm wearing this shirt today.
That run he had in that postseason was so unique in terms of the way that team used him and how efficient he was from start to finish. It's just incredible. One of the most impressive postseason runs by a relief pitcher that I've ever seen.
The dude was nails. He was absolute nails, and the way that they used him completely changed the way pitchers are used now today. Because the traditional way was the closer is in the ninth.
Yep.
Sometimes you got to face the best guys in the order in the seventh or the eighth.
Yep. Right.
And you need to get them out then. So use your best pitcher against the best guys late in the game, no matter the inning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's why, Tito won Manager of the Year, and also, we got to remember that too, because he was making all of the right moves at all the right times, and the way that he used Miller was perfect. And yeah, I mean, it's just one of the all-time impressive Cleveland performances by a Cleveland athlete in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if Cleveland was fully healthy for that series against the Cubs, they would have won it.
Oh yeah, I stand by. If they had Carlos Carrasco, Danny Salazar, and Michael Brantley, the Indians probably sweep that series. Are you kidding?
There's so much bad luck that went into that. It's just so painful to watch. To watch that slip through our fingertips is. I hate it.
I mean, they probably win fairly easily if they have those three guys right there. That changes so much stuff. That we wouldn't have, Michael Martinez taking the last at-bat of that World Series. Which, by the way, there was a very real possibility they would have had Josh Tomlin pitch hit for Michael Martinez. Okay,
that's incredible.
That's just how bad of a situation that they were in, and they're just like, no, we're not going to do that.
It felt like it was just such karma for the way that the Cavs and Warriors series played out with the Draymond injury, and it was like it's the same thing, could the Cavs have won that title if it wasn't for the way that things bounced for the Warriors, and then they blow the 3-1 lead, and then here's the Guardians in the World Series, with a 3-1 lead. And then now like they've got 3 key players injured and it falls through their fingertips. It was like we were a year removed from it going the other direction with the Cavs, and then it sucked.
Hey, Brian.
Karmic circle.
Hey, Brian, the only team to not blow a 3-1 series lead in 2016? The Pittsburgh Penguins.
Ah, yeah, that's right. They did not.
They did not. San Jose forced a game 6, but Pittsburgh closed them out and won their 4th Stanley Cup.
Yes, sir.
All right, moving along. Have you seen the proposed Shohei Ohtani rule?
Break it down a little bit for us here.
Yeah,
James.
break it down a little bit.
This one's a little confusing to me.
But this is specific for let me get it. I want to get it right. So let me just okay. The MLB and Major League Baseball Players Association agreed to a Shohei Ohtani rule, which will fold in with the universal DH. Essentially, the rule will allow Ohtani and other players who may follow in his footsteps to finish out games he pitches in the batting order. Effectively, it adds a second designation to him on the depth chart. He will be the pitcher and the DH in games he plays. So, he doesn't no longer have to be the DH. And, you look back when DHs get removed and stuff before you lose when you make pitchers in your lineup, and it would take away the DH. The DH is still going to be there. And
yes.
He's still going to finish hitting. So, that's going to be very much impactful.
Yeah.
It's super impactful, and it's interesting because he's the only guy that this is really applicable for. But yeah, I mean, it just speaks to how big of an impact he's had on the sport already. He had an incredible year last year. MLB obviously wants him to be on the field as often as possible. So yeah, I think this is a good move. I think it makes sense. And I don't think that there's any competitive reasons why it's unfair necessarily. So yeah, I like it. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
All
the
right.
rule I'm not okay with, the fact that they're bringing back the stupid ghost runner rule in extra innings.
I hate it, but I hate that rule.
It's stupid. It's dumb. But yeah, it is an actual human being, though, Josh. It's not a ghost runner.
Darn it!
I do want to make that distinction.
I wanted it to be an actual ghost. Why'd you have to ruin my day, Brian?
I mean,
no, but that comparison always bothers me because when I played, when we played pickup baseball as kids in the Sandlot, it was like a ghost runner meant that there was nobody there.
Yeah.
So it's not really a ghost runner. There's someone there.
Yeah.
I thought someone referred to it as a zombie runner.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Zombie runner instead of ghost runner.
I'll accept that.
Like
Yeah.
I'll accept that.
All right. How about some Guardians news?
Yeah, good news. Finally.
Oh my
Brian
God,
Shaw is
the
back.
Guardians actually did something?
Brian Shaw is back. Signed him to a $3 million deal with incentives up to $9 million. That's a lot of money. And that takes them from the team that spent the 29th most amount of money to the team that spent the 29th most amount of money because they still trailed 28th by $1.5 million.
They still haven't spent all that much money.
Yeah, so we got Brian Shaw.
Have we done anything else?
No. We signed that one catcher that got hurt.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yeah, Luke
Mail
or Miley, or I don't know.
Luke Mail. I think it's pronounced Mail.
Might be Mail. I don't know.
Either way,
signed,
we went on spring training already. So
we signed Luke Mail and Brian Shaw, and that's it.
Yay!
That's all they've done.
Yay! This is good. It's going to be just like you said, James. Like opening day, the place is going to be packed, and then the next day there's going to be like 5,000 people at most.
I have no idea if it's going to be packed because right now they're promoting buy opening day tickets, get other tickets for another game free right now. Okay. They're still struggling to sell opening day tickets.
Oh my God.
And we're only about 20 days out here.
Yeah. It's not that far out. But their lack of spending did not go unnoticed by players in baseball, as Dallas Keuchel and Jock Peterson criticized them for their lack of spending in back-to-back days. Dallas Keuchel, obviously not a target for the Guardians, but the Guardians were interested in Jock Peterson, and he signed elsewhere.
Yep. It's interesting, especially from Keuchel coming from like a division foe, you know, for him to say, I wish the Guardians would spend more money. It's like, that one really was like, holy shit, you know, this is how bad the situation is in terms of Cleveland's ownership and how tight they are with their purse strings.
At least we're not the Pittsburgh Pirates.
They've spent more money than the Guardians have this year. Only one team has spent less, and that's the A's, and they've spent zero.
Yeah.
Okay.
So worse than the Pirates for a year.
Yeah. They currently have spent less money than the Pittsburgh Pirates.
That really does say something, then.
Yeah, that speaks volumes to how little they are spending.
Yeah. Not a great scenario there. Question for you guys: is Paul Dolan delusional?
I think so.
Yes.
Yes.
Because he hopes CC Sabathia is going to enter the Hall of Fame as a Cleveland Indian.
No way. He's going in as a Yankee.
Going as a Yankee. Like,
that's a 9. I mean, he won World Series with the Yankees. Like,
he won more games. He had a better ERA and strikeout per 9 ratio with the Yankees.
Yeah.
The best.
I love the thought, but it's delusional. I love the thought. I would love to have him, you know, enter the Hall of Fame as a member of our team. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know where he got this idea in his head that this was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this was just something that Paul Dolan was throwing out there in hopes that CC would hear it and latch onto it and be like, yeah, maybe. But no, I just don't.
Best case scenario for Dolan and his quest for this is that CC goes in without an insignia on the cap. That's the only way that he doesn't go in as a Yankee.
I could see that. Yeah.
I would love CC Sabathia, Milwaukee Brewer Hall of Famer. That would be hilarious.
That would be hilarious.
But honestly, the best case scenario, it would be no cap insignia.
Yeah, he's not going to do that though. He's going in.
He's going in as a Yankee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of people in that Yankee organization like helped him turn his life around too. Mm-hmm. So he has some really sentimental ties there that are a little deeper than the ones that he made in Cleveland. Just speaking as someone who, you know, had problems with alcohol and is sober today myself. Mm-hmm. He's 6.5 years sober from alcohol now. And I know that the Yankees played an integral part of helping assist him on his path to getting sober. I don't know how much you remember about it, but I mean, like, he elected to not participate in postseason baseball because he wanted to get help. Mm-hmm. I think that too, just as someone who's in recovery and empathizing with that side of him a little bit, I think it would probably mean a lot to him to go in as a Yankee and have those people that helped him get sober be there and be a part of that. So that's how I anticipate it playing out. But
yeah, there's definitely the sobriety angle. There's definitely, he got in better shape with the Yankees. You know what I mean? Like, he was a big guy, and I remember like the day that he signed, the headline on ESPN was, "Will CC Sabathia be the player that has worn the most pinstripes ever?" Like, really? That's the headline you're going with, most pinstripes? Like, what a giant middle finger.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
It was so bad. He's obviously in a lot better shape now. You saw him. He got some sort of award at some Cleveland thing the other day.
Yeah,
he looks great now.
Yeah, he got an award at the Greater Cleveland Sports Award Show, whatever it's called.
Yeah, so, you know, good for him. He's going to go in as a Yankee. Sure, I know you want to talk some Cavs, okay? And we've been waiting. The Cavs have clinched at least a play-in spot, okay?
So if they lose every single game, we're still in there.
They're going to have postseason basketball in Cleveland without LeBron James for the first time since 1997, 1998.
Incredible.
Yes.
Unfortunately, without Taco Fall as well.
We need to win Saturday's game against Chicago. It is an absolute must win. Luckily, even though we lost last night against Toronto, we're still ahead of them in the standings because we clinched the season series. So that's our tiebreaker. But oh my God, if we lose against Chicago, we're in trouble because that means we would be on a collision course with Brooklyn in the play-in tournament. I don't want to play Kyrie and Kevin Durant in essentially a one and done type game.
I'd much rather play them in a one and done than in a 7-game series.
Yeah.
I'm with you there, actually.
So there's one way to look at it. You know, you could kind of make a positive of it that way, that like at least they wouldn't have to face them later on. But yeah, I mean, good teams, you got to beat the best to be the best. So like,
that's what Ric Flair would say.
This just speaks to where we're kind of at. You know, it's like we know this team's not going to win a title.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know.
So
I'm not that
really. Yeah, I agree. Like it's important, but like I don't think that this season can really be a failure in any sense now that we've clinched a spot in the play-in tournament.
For me, it would be just because where we've been throughout the standings and how the expectations have changed as the season has progressed. So,
but whose expectations have changed though? Because mine haven't.
Well, like before the season, nobody predicted us to be in the playoff picture, let alone the play-in tournament.
Right, so, I'll give you that, but it's never been like we were going to be winners of the Eastern Conference.
Oh, I understand. Trust me, I get that. Nobody was picking us to win the finals or get to the Eastern Conference finals.
That's all I know, you know, is that.
Yeah, even as a diehard Cavaliers fan, I'm not going to be crazy enough to say, yep, we're going to the Eastern Conference finals. Like, no. Like, I know Brooklyn's better than us. I know Philadelphia is better than us. Milwaukee, Boston, Miami. I get it. We're in the bottom half of the top half of the Eastern Conference. I'll say it like that.
The bottom of the first quarter?
Yes. I'm all over the place today.
For you.
I'm all over the place today. Give me a break. God damn it.
No, you're good. No, I just think that like that at this point I feel like we're playing with house money, you know? Mm-hmm. So yeah, it would be huge if they win this game. But I could, you know, if they lose this game, it's, you know, how much does it really change things in the grand scheme? You know what I'm saying? Like,
for me, it changes a lot.
Yeah.
Well, what's the difference if we get knocked out in the first round of the playoffs or the second?
I mean, I'm not picking us to go to win a first round series. I'll admit that. But here's the thing with the play-in tournament. I get it. Like, if you lose the 7-8 game, you go into the secondary game where you play the winner of the 9-10 matchup. I get that. But essentially, it's a one-and-done type tournament at its core. Whereas, so let's say in that scenario, Darius Garland has a bad night shooting, or like Evan Mobley is off, we probably lose that game. Whereas if you get into a 7-game series, you still have at least 3 more games to try and get right and get back into the series.
Yeah, but you just said that they're not going to win a series anyway. So it's like, what difference does it make if they lose in the play-in tournament in the first game or if they lose in the first series? You know what I mean? Like, if they're going to lose either way, it's like, how much of a difference is it getting knocked out in the play-in tournament versus getting knocked out in the first round of the postseason?
I think it makes a huge difference, actually.
Okay.
I don't. Number one. Number two, I'm not really all that stressed about this Bulls game on Saturday because I don't expect the Cavs to win that game, to be honest. The Bulls are the better team. But just hope Toronto loses to the Pacers as well.
Yeah.
That night.
I will say this: we're playing the Bulls at the right time. They're on a bit of a skid right now. I think
They just lost to New Orleans.
3 out of their last 10. I want to say they've only won 3 out of their last 10 games, something like that. So
But
yeah, we're getting them at the right time. We're finding them in a moment when they're kind of vulnerable.
I'm
So
pretty
yeah,
sure
time to
DeRozan's
play.
injured too.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. I'm excited for it. I'm just not as like, if this game doesn't end up good for us, like, the season's over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe I'm going a little extreme on it, but that's just how I'm viewing it based on, again.
You're setting yourself up for a lot of disappointment is all I'm saying. If you're going to put all that pressure on one game.
Yeah.
Well,
DeMar DeRozan's listed as day-to-day. Lonzo Ball is out.
There we go.
So,
all right.
some things positive for the Cavs. I'm going to worry about them because they have their own injury issues as well. Dean Wade out for the season pretty much. Jared Allen also has that same designation.
Still haven't really got much from Caris LeVert, because of his injuries. So, yeah, it's
why did we put Kevin Love in the starting lineup last game?
Matchup reason, yeah.
That was bizarre.
They wanted that for the matchup. That's all it was. It's matching up with Toronto's starting lineup.
Yeah, he still played the same amount of minutes that he typically plays. It was just, I mean, it doesn't really matter who starts versus who doesn't, and in a role like Kevin Love, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I get. In the grand scheme of things, I do understand what you're saying, Brian. And maybe I'm reading into the situation a little too much. I'll admit that. I tend to do that sometimes, but
yeah, you're very all or nothing.
Yeah, for this particular situation, I am. Yes.
Yeah. I'll say this: if we win this game against the Bulls, then that gives us some very good momentum and something to be excited about heading into the postseason. Right. I just think that my expectations aren't too high for this team. You know what I mean? Anyway, so it's I'm just enjoying the ride,
Oh, I am too. Trust me. But I feel like maybe I am playing too much into it.
Yeah, I think you are. There are definitely some winnable games down the stretch here. We still play Orlando twice. Okay, Orlando sucks. Okay, we're going to be playing the Bucks in the last game of the season, where they're probably going to be resting everybody. Okay,
yeah. It's an easy win.
Same thing for Brooklyn. Second to last game of the season, we play Brooklyn. You know what they're not going to be doing? Playing Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving heavy minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the end of the season kind of sets up nicely for us in that way. Yeah, we're still playing meaningful games in terms of battling for position and whatnot. We have way more to play for in those games than they do. So that'll make a big impact. Those will be interesting games.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I'm not gonna fret over one game. There's still too many games to sit here and panic and fret over them. Honestly, when we get to the 5 or less, that's when it's probably the good time to focus in on positioning. And are you worried about play-in tournament versus actual playoffs? That's really the time to do it. We'll start at the next game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Okay,
that's what I would do. That's how I'd go about it. If I'm worried about anything, start with the next game.
Mm-hmm. Chirk, how about you? What do you feel about this Cavs team? What do you think how do you think the season ends for them? Where at?
I mean, I'm gonna guess 40 between the 44 to 47 wins.
I mean, in postseason, you think they have any season success?
I think their success is just going to the second round, just a second round of exit. That's their potential. If they go farther,
that's where I got them. I think that's their ceiling. I think a first round victory would be their ceiling, but
right.
Yeah, and I think that is possible. If they go past that, then championship might enter my head.
Of course.
It depends.
I will go to that point if they are making the conference finals, because that proves that this is a team not to mess with.
I mean, having Toronto and Milwaukee win recent championships, it does give teams like the Cavs a little bit more hope than they've had in recent years. You know what I mean? Where it was a foregone conclusion who was going to win the title in recent, some of those seasons.
With Toronto, the only reason they won that title is because they got Kawhi. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been in that position.
Yeah.
DeMar
Right.
DeRozan
The small market teams that, weren't necessarily favorites at the beginning of the year can prove that they can win in the postseason.
Right. I know. I get what your overall point was.
Word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it appears that we've ran into a little bit of a brick wall here. Do we want to get to some tournament talk before we wrap things up?
Yeah, let's talk about the tournament. NCAA tournament. Been a lot of fun. Been a lot of fun to watch.
Good ride for us Buckeye fans and Wolverine fans, but it has come to a conclusion.
Yes. And I was wrong
now
about
only has one team remaining.
Both teams went farther than I thought that they would. I didn't think either team would win in round one.
Same.
And they both did. Michigan won a second time, but they lost yesterday, which I kind of expected, to be honest. But that scumbag Coach K won last night.
Yeah, we were kind of excited, thinking it might have been the last time that we had to deal with him being on the court. But one more go round for Coach K and the boys down there in North Carolina.
It would have just been so perfect if his career would have ended stuck on 99 tournament wins.
It would have been so.
It would have been so. There would have been thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
But he got to 100.
Great coach. I mean, Duke wasn't really much of anything before him.
Yeah.
No.
So it just goes to show how like a transcendent coach can take a program and just take them to new heights, and that's something that as a Michigan basketball fan that we are hoping for. But a lot of questionable coaching moves by Juwan Howard. So yeah, that's remains to be seen. The guy can recruit his absolute nuts off, but his in-game decision-making has been questionable at best. And so that remains to be seen for us. But good year overall for Ohio State and for Michigan. Both exceeded expectations as far as their tournament success went.
Yep. I have to take a mulligan because I said Arizona was going to win the tournament, win it all. And Houston said, no.
Houston's got a good team.
Yeah.
They've knocked off some big teams, so.
Yeah, they go against Villanova in the next round.
That's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Interesting thing is Houston's going in as the lower seeded team, but they are currently favorite by 2 points.
Really?
Yes. That one that opened up as Houston being 1 point favorites. It's now grown to 2. So
that's surprising to me. Houston's going to have to play their best game because Villanova is not going to beat themselves. They're not just going to carelessly turn the ball over. With a Jay Wright coach team, they're going to play the full 40 minutes of just good, solid, fundamental basketball. You're going to have to bring your best game if you want to beat the Wildcats. Simple as that.
Let's talk about the games this evening. Does the St. Peter's upset Purdue? Does their Cinderella run continue?
Nope.
I think there's a real chance here, but that's as far as I'll go.
I'm saying
Big Ten was grossly overrated all year long.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's been exposed we had 9 teams in the tournament and we're down to 1 already. So
it's just Purdue.
Yeah. And it's just Purdue. And Purdue is always a team that, they're much like a Wisconsin. They get excited and they have the player and they're going to go the whole way this year. And then it ends in disappointment. And so, I think that in terms of a 15 seeds chances to make it beyond this round, they have as good as any team ever has.
I do like how St. Peter's plays. They're just like, we don't care. We're
house money attitude. I'm telling you, when you got a team, that's why Michigan, I think, exceeded expectations. Is they were playing with house money. They were an 11 seed.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people argued they should have been in the NIT. Same thing with North Carolina. That's why I think UNC, kind of getting ahead of myself, I think they win that bracket. I think they come out of the East.
I would love it if we got – I know you guys don't love Coach K, but I would personally love it if we got UNC Duke in the Final Four. I would be all over that match.
Well, to see Coach K lose one more time to North Carolina and it'd be in the final game would be awesome to see. But fuck Coach K and fuck Duke. So yeah, I'm so tired of them. I'm so tired of them.
And I'm so tired of Buckeye fans that are Duke basketball fans too, by the way. Buckeye fans, I don't have problems with you guys for being Buckeye fans, but I got problems with you being Duke basketball fans just because they don't win a fucking national title every goddamn year in basketball like they do in football. So grow up, people. If you're going to root for a school, root for them in every sport is what I'm saying.
Growing up, I was a UConn fan. I didn't like Duke.
So, Brian, you don't like it when like somebody roots for one college football team but roots for a different college basketball team. You don't like that.
Correct.
If you're rooting for college teams, root for college teams.
Exactly. Are you a fan or are you not? Like, doesn't make much sense to me.
Yeah. Don't be the Alabama football, Duke basketball, Yankee Warrior.
Those people all are just admitting, like, okay, I'm a front-running bandwagoner, and I'm okay with it. I'm embracing that title, and I'm running with it. That's what those people are. People that are, I'm not an Ohio State basketball fan because they're not that good. So it's like, oh, why would I care? And it's like, well, I don't get
it. Those people are Drake. They're Drake. That's all it is.
Boom. You're all Drakes.
Okay. And that is how we are going to wrap up this episode of So What's the Catch. Thank you for tuning in. We should be back at our normal time next week.
Closing thoughts. Who's got something? James, you had something on the tip of your tongue.
Who has their NCAA winner still intact?
We do. Kansas. Hey, guys. Shark, who did you pick? I forgot who you picked.
You picked Ohio State again.
Oh, you picked Ohio State to win the whole damn thing, didn't you? That's right. All right. Yeah.
What?
Who was your pick?
Arizona.
Arizona.
Can I take a mulligan?
No.
Damn
I'll
it.
let you pick again because I'm that confident that you'll pick wrong.
Despite
Who's your new team? Who are you riding with now?
Villanova.
Nova? All right. We'll see.
Who's Villanova play next?
Houston.
Yeah, Houston's the 2-point favorites as the 5 seed. Interesting.
Yep, I'm going with Nova.
Cool.
So I'm going to be rooting big time for Houston later.
Right there, James. Right there.
I'm going to be sitting there pounding the table for Houston. I don't even know what the mascot of their school is, but let's go. Cougars. Thank you.
Go Cougs.
So, yeah, I'm going to be rooting
right
for
there,
Houston.
James. Right there.
You're rooting for Houston. I'm rooting for St. Peter's to take down Purdue because I think Purdue are frauds.
I agree. I think I'm always rooting for a 15 seed. I mean, come on.
And I don't care enough about Iowa State, Miami to watch.
Terrible. Both are bad teams. That's why part of the reason I love Kansas going to the Final Four is that's
the team that gets the privilege to lose to Kansas after Kansas takes care of business against Providence tonight.
Oh yeah, Kansas is going to take care of Providence, no problem. But I will not be able to watch any of the games tonight because I will be at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse for Charlotte Checkers versus Cleveland Monsters.
The Charlotte Checkers are a team.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And yet their mascot is a polar bear.
Makes total sense because polar bears are famously known for playing checkers. Don't like chess. Not good chess players, but they can jump into people with the best of them.
Well, with their paws, they can't grip the pieces with chess. They can only push the checkers.
There's no opposing thumb.
Wait, Brian, here's the even weirder part. They're in Charlotte, yet they're not affiliated with the Carolina Hurricanes.
It happens all the time with minor league affiliates, Josh. Come on.
Yeah.
They used to be affiliated with the Carolina Hurricanes, but now they're affiliated with the Florida Panthers.
Well, look, I mean, come on. The Monsters here in town used to be an Avalanche affiliate, okay?
That's actually because the Monsters moved here from Utah.
I know, but still, they were in Utah with Colorado. So
they were already out of state.
They were already out of state. So, that's just how minor leagues go. I mean, who remembers when the AAA affiliate in Cleveland for baseball was the Buffalo Bisons?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. We also – do you remember the Cleveland Barons, that logo, that the shark that had the monocular?
The monocle, yeah.
Monocle?
Yes.
Wow, your words, man. You just make up words. It's so good.
They're
Monoculars.
Joshisms.
He had monoculars on.
Joshisms.
I'm bringing Josh and these into So What's the Catch. Damn it.
All right.
Joshisms.
Now
I
it's
think
the
I think
time to wrap up.
Josh
So
is-
Yeah, I think with that's a good time to wrap up when you're just inventing words on the spot.
Wait,
thanks
I
for
gotta.
joining us on a Friday, guys. Yeah, we got to make sure we say that. Thanks everybody for tuning in on a Friday. We will be back to our regular scheduled time.
I got a berserker this week.
Oh, Nurker. Give me
All right.
All right, drum roll.
Now you don't get one.
The berserker I will put in Darius Garland.
Okay, I'm
Right.
so glad that it wasn't who I thought it was going to be.
Same.
I
I
thought
thought it
the
was gonna be-
Berserker of the week was going to be a different player in Cleveland.
Baker.
Thank you. Not me. No,
No, not Baker.
not Baker.
We'll leave it at that.
Anyway, thanks, guys. It's been real fun. We will see you next Wednesday at our normal scheduled time.
With more shenanigans.
Mhm.